Welcome to Fridays. Every Friday I give you a crazy news update, straight out of the mad circus that Russia has become. Howdy friends, my name is Konstantin and welcome to Inside Russia. We're living in today's Russia explained by the unusual Russia. Well, first things first, there's no such absurdity that cannot be realized in Russia these days. Please remember that. And the news, I call them crazy news from Russia. The news of Russia that matter and that you will not find in any mainstream media. I'd like to start Friday, usually I'd like to start Friday reports with fresh Putin jokes. But today I have something real instead of a joke. First, Vladimir Putin threatened Europe to stop supplying natural gas. Then Putin said Europe would freeze without Russian natural gas. Then Europe stopped buying Russia's natural gas. Then Russians started freezing in Transnistria. Then Putin started buying natural gas for Transnistria from Europe with Russia's taxpayers' money. What an excellent combination from an excellent geopolitician. With real-life situations like that, we don't need Putin's jokes. The next step for Putin would be a logical step, with that geostrategist of his magnitude, would be to purchase NATO weapons for Cuba at the expense of Russian budget. Now straight to the news. Let me start with yummy, tasty seafood news first. Do you like fish? Do you like seafood? I do. I lived in Maine for 9 years, North Atlantic, excellent seafood. Russia also has good seafood. Russia's north, the East Coast, the Pacific, the Black Sea, of course. My father was born and grew up in Crimea on the Black Sea. My childhood was filled with stories of how my dad fished in the Black Sea. Great stories they were. And Black Sea fish is wonderful still. I've tried it many times. Black Sea fish was wonderful until recently. You might have heard that an ecological disaster happened in the Black Sea a couple of weeks ago. Well, a month ago. 2 oil tankers belonging to Putin's shadow fleet spilled around 5,000 metric tons of oil right into the Black Sea, right into the waters. Ecological catastrophe in the Russian coast of Krasnodar province, and even Crimea's beaches are covered with oil right now. But no worries. The head of Rospotrebnadzor, Russia's agency watching for food safety, an equivalent of America's Food and Drug Administration, says it's okay to eat fish caught in the Black Sea today. I quote Anna Popova, the big boss of Rospotrebnadzor. Fish and seafood in the Black Sea are safe to eat. I unquote. Plain and simple, Russians, don't worry. Go ahead and keep on eating that fish from the Black Sea. It's good to know. Now let's take a little look what's happening in the Black Sea, just about right now.
Сидят уже такие малышки. Уже знают, что их. Вы уже прям каждая по одной, по одному оттираете. Все уже люди разбираются в птицах. Каждый уже по одной отмывает. Раньше мы одну по 3, вернее, одну втроем.
Волосы можете мне подвинуть?
Да,
Спасибо большое.
я тоже тут была. Я не знаю, как это тяжело. Мне нос чесался на какой-то момент, и нечем было почесать. Да. такие умнички.
And this is my favorite video about safety of Black Sea water today.
Вот в таком виде у нас водолаз выходит.
This happened yesterday. A
Да,
diver.
я покажу. Смотри, вот.
A simple short dive into the Black Sea. Take a look at that again.
Вот
Oh,
в
I am
таком виде
very sure that
у нас
fish
водолаз выходит.
and seafood from the Black Sea is very
Да, я
safe to
покажу.
eat now.
Смотри, вот. Вот такой вот водолаз у нас вышел.
I'm absolutely sure. Safe, safe, safe. You know, I have a belated Christmas wish. Dear Santa, please make sure that Anna Popova and her family, her husband, her 2 kids, eat well this year and eat healthy. Please send them fish caught in the Black Sea to Popova's table to eat every single day because it's perfectly safe after all. Another news is from Russian propaganda. But for a change, Russian propaganda speaks the truth. Wow. And you know, this week is actually the truth week, because quite a few people from the propaganda somehow all of a sudden started speaking the truth. I'm not ready for that, I tell you right now. Well, every time one of those liars starts speaking the truth, I certainly cannot walk past by such a wonderful opportunity and such a wonderful event. This is Tsarigrad TV, the Tsar's City TV in English. It belongs to a Russian billionaire oligarch, and this is one of the hosts of his propaganda channel. That's what one of the hosts recently said. Let's take a look. Certainly, obtaining a high-quality education in Russia is a difficult challenge today. High schools and higher education institutions have been restructured in such a way that both teachers and students are under pressure of bureaucracy and have complete lack of creativity. Schools no longer provide knowledge, but rather educational services. Students turn to private tutors to receive knowledge. The so-called free education system in Russia has long since become an illusion. Well, wow, oh wow. The propaganda host is absolutely right. Every single word he said is true. For the past 25 years, Russia's educational system has been transformed into a machine of making money for the very few people who are on the top. On the very top, you know? Why the truth now? Was this propaganda all of a sudden wants to open the eyes of Russians? No, I don't think so. It's very simple. What we just saw is a part of the secret political struggle between the power clans. The Churchill said about that, it's when the bulldogs fight under the carpet, and that's what you just saw. Sometimes you can see bits and pieces. I unveil the carpet a little bit for you. These people criticizing, they just want to remove those currently on the top of who are milking Russia's educational system. And they want to start milking it themselves. That's why they're criticizing. I still love hearing the truth from the lips of the very propaganda. Another news is also the truth. I'm telling you, it's a week of revelations. It is also projected by Russian propaganda. A pro-government Z Telegram channel called Осведомитель, the Informer, reports, I quote, Ukraine executes alarmingly successful attacks on strategic targets in Russia. Last night, the enemy launched a massive coordinated missile and drone strike against Russian territory. ATACMS and Storm Shadows ballistic missiles, as well as about 200 kamikaze drones were used. The following targets were hit and damaged: a chemical plant in Bryansk, an Army Reserve oil depot, Kombinat Kristall, near Engels in the Saratov province, attacked multiple times. Saratov Oil Refinery, a natural gas storage facility at the Orgsynthos Enterprise in Kazan, an oil pumping station near Almetyevsk in the Republic of Tatarstan. And the propaganda channel is correct. This is what recently has happened deep inside Russian territory.
Это ракеты бьют.
Witness says this is the missiles hitting. And his wife suggests, let's run. And he goes, nowhere to run. You can't outrun your fate.
Едь, не едь, от судьбы не уйдешь. Глянь.
The next one I made the sound very low because there are a lot of swear words. Although they're not in Russian, it's still not pleasant to hear them. Friends, I hope you took a very good look at it. That's how the stability that Putin promised Russian people on February 24th, 2022, by attacking Ukraine, that is an excuse he made. The stability, security, and safety for Russia. That's why Russia was invading Ukraine. That is exactly how his stability looks like right now in 2025. And I have some kind of weird feeling that this is just the beginning. We're going to see a lot more of that. Actually, the next news, you're not going to believe it. It's also the truth from a hardcore Russian propagandist. The news is from or about and about Russian philosopher, well, so-called philosopher, Alexander Dugan. This guy right here. Dugan is a mythical figure in Russia. He is the creator of the ideology of the Russian world. The rumors have it, Vladimir Putin is a fan and a follower of Dugan's ideas and works. Dugan's works are the foundation of Putin's aggression. Well, even Dugan tells the truth once in a blue moon. And that once in a blue moon is today. And that's what he said. I quote Dugan. Indeed, the Russian government has not been able to offer anything more precise than money as an ideology. It doesn't matter that over the past 40 years, the same Russian elites have changed their ideology several times, but with a clever and important look. They continue to teach the stunned people something that they themselves don't fully understand. It is incomprehensible to anyone, especially to ourselves, how a Komsomol member can become a liberal. Then that liberal can become an anti-liberal and patriot, and then, quite possibly, how the very same person can turn liberal again and anti-patriot. The only thing we have to interpret this with is the famous song by the singer Instasamka. Absolutely anything for money. За деньги, да. Whew, what a week. Even Dugan himself told the truth about Putin and his gang. That's what the message was aimed at the very top, the Russian government. Who's the Russian government? Hey, we all know. What a week. Moving on to the economic news of the last week. According to January review by the Association of Russian Banks, real pensions in 2024 decreased from the level of 2023. Taking real-life inflation into the account, the pensions in 2022 were 98.7% of the pensions, the very same pensions, from 2023. Old retired folks in Russia certainly ate less last year. And in 2025, they will eat even less. Inflation in Russia at the end of 2024 was 9.52, Росстат reported. But I actually have a very good portion at the end of this live stream where I explain more in depth of the inflation in this year. Well, now I'd like to move to the truth again, coming from a federal judge this time. I kid you not. That's something I have not heard before. When a federal judge telling the truth about Russia's judicial system so openly, so boldly. On the radio broadcast of Krasnoyarsk main FM radio station, the chairman of the regional court, Nikolai Fuga, was answering questions from radio listeners live. The Telegram channel Typical Krasnodar reporting this. One of the callers asked Fuga about the lack of acquittals in Russia. Well, how come there are no acquittals? Just prison terms. Let's give it a try. Let's take a listen.
И это тоже как бы говорит о качестве работы судей. То есть все решения...
Fuga is asked from a caller about the lack of acquittal. How come? It means that our judicial system is very underdeveloped and one-sided. And now Fuga gives the answer. According to Fuga, defendants are only acquitted in Russia if mistakes are made by investigation or prosecutor's office. And mistakes are identified during such investigation process. Russia does not have a system where prosecution and defense present evidence, like in the USA, for example. Instead, there is an investigation, and if the investigation concludes that the person is innocent, the prosecutor does not send the case to court. Then the case is dismissed. And if any investigation concludes that a person is guilty, then the case is transferred to a court and acquittal is impossible. This is a unique situation that does not exist anywhere else, only exists in Russia. And this is very true words. In Russia, if they open a criminal investigation against you, you are guilty by default, because a judge can acquit you only if he finds or someone proves that mistakes at the investigation process were made. Only if such mistakes are found, then prosecutors, they get punished by their own for mistakes, because they're not supposed to make mistakes, obviously. So miraculously, they don't make mistakes, never. And suspects are almost always found guilty in Russia. No matter what they do, no matter how the attorneys fight, it just doesn't matter. What a nice system. And again, that is the truth. The federal judge revealed the truth. I am in awe. I'm sitting here and I'm listening, and why aren't others in Russia listening? Now they have started speaking the truth. All you have to do is keep your ears open and understand what they're saying. Before moving to the next news, I would like to take a sip of this wonderful English breakfast tea. And take this opportunity to thank you watching me right now, for watching, for coming back to watch my videos and live streams, for your emails, for your letters of support and messages of support, for liking my videos, for commenting, for asking me questions, for buying me coffees, for supporting me on Patreon, for supporting me on PayPal. Thank you so very much. Every day I make a promise. I continue making it. I promise you, monetized or not monetized, I'm currently not making any money from YouTube. I will keep on going. That's my promise to you. So thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. The next news comes from Armenia. Well, this news kind of has been long in the making, and this news concerns Russia directly. The United States of America and Armenia have signed a strategic partnership agreement. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Armenian Foreign Minister Ararat Mirzayan signed the Charter on Strategic Partnership between Yerevan and Washington on Tuesday, January 14th, in Washington, D.C. This is a significant milestone in the relations between the two countries. We are establishing a Commission on Strategic Partnership that will provide a range of opportunities for expanding our cooperation in various areas, including economy, defense, security, and democracy, said Blinken. And you know what? I believe that guy. I am a high opinion of him, and he's done a lot of good things for Ukraine, at least. I'm not sure about other things, but from what I've seen, I like it. Before signing the strategical partnership with America, earlier, Armenia approved a draft law on the initiation of the country's accession to the European Union. Do you know what it looks like? Russia is on the way out of Armenia, and fast. The next news also comes from Russian parliament. The Senator Vitaly Milonov, this guy I'm going to show you right now. Oh, you know this guy. He has been a very frequent guest on my videos and live streams. He has, he's made quite a few initiatives in Russia. For example, he proposed to mandatory send all who like Harry Potter to psychiatrists. He proposed to buy large Russian families horses instead of subsidizing purchases of cars. He seek to throw the American performer Madonna to Russian jail for spreading alien values at her concert in Moscow some 12 years ago. Yeah, this wonderful guy, Russian senator. This time Milonov has proposed to recognize body positivity ideology as undesirable and extremist in the territory of Russian Federation. He has officially submitted a copy of his appeal to the Minister of Health, Mikhail Murashko. According to Milonov, body positivity has been gaining popularity in Russia in recent years. He explained that supporters and participants of this movement promote an unhealthy lifestyle, reject food discipline and exercise, and disregard generally accepted notions of beauty and tidiness. The good senator noted that there are hundreds of pages in social media and different groups promoting body positivity in the Russian internet. He focused people's attention that the main victims of this ideology are young girls and boys who accept the social concepts as instructions for actions. So Milonov wants to make all fat Russians undesirables and extremists. He wants to put them to jail for being fat. This guy, Milonov, he is the icon of fitness and thinness and health. He wants to jail all fat Russians for being fat. As a Russian senator, by the way, he's exempt from prison time. You know, he's exempt for being arrested and put on trial for anything, because that's the immunity he gets. Genius. Just genius. Incredible. I don't know what to say. What do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. The only thing I can say is that this defense or whatever rests its case. By the way, news like that come out of Russia daily. Multiple news like that every single day. And for patrons of Inside Russia, I have come up with what I call Formula 54. I choose 54 news per week. That's 9 news per day that I find important and I think matter. I identify them, I put my commentaries, analysis, and I make them available to patrons. So if you want to know things about Russia, if you want to stay on top of things, Russia, but you didn't know where to look, now you do. Sign up to become a patron. I'm going to put the link down below in the pinned chat message right after the stream is over. Check it out. The next news is amusing. 2 days ago, well, not so amusing. I don't know if amusing news come out of Russia these days. At first it seems amusing, but then it's sad. It's just plain sad. The next, 2 days ago, a global internet outage was reported all over Russia. Just like that, internet simply disappeared. It stopped working. All websites, all online services, except for rare exceptions, you know, banking, payment systems, searching, gaming, paying online, paying at the stores, you know, you need internet for that. Everything stopped working. The outage was major. For a few hours, people simply were without internet. And the outage made the news all over Russia. Obviously, you cannot hide it. You cannot sugarcoat. You cannot lie about it. It's there. All over the world actually made the news. And the chances are you've heard of it. So it was major. And the excuses from the Russian officials followed. The Ministry of Digitization, the federal ministry, started making excuses. First, it was an excuse that Russia's internet watchdog agency, Roskomnadzor, Russian Commercial Communications Nadzor, was testing the system that makes Russian internet cut off from the rest of the world. That excuse didn't fly. Then they said it was an upgrade of the special software for internet service providers. That went wrong. Didn't go well. Then they changed again and they made another excuse. The network equipment in Russia is old, worn out, and outdated. Well, it didn't go well again. It didn't fly. And yesterday, finally, It was a subcontractor in Kazan doing some earthworks, replacing an internet cable. An excavator, by mistake, cut it off. And the entire internet in the country stopped working. I kid you not, it's the official explanation today. Straight from the Ministry of Digitization of Kazan. You know what? I actually believe that. It's Russia for you. One cable accidentally cut off by a drunken driver, excavator operator, and the entire country is internet free. Welcome to Putin's Russia 2025. I actually do seriously believe this last explanation is right on. The next news is drones. One day, drones used to be toys for us. I even remember thinking of buying a drone just to fly it and drone with a camera to take pictures from above. Now, Russian state is taking drones very seriously. In 2024, Russian schools and institutions of additional education spent approximately 540 million rubles on training in drone management and design. The purchases were made by educational institutions in 39 provinces of Russia. Most funds were allocated in Saratov, over 159 million rubles, Irkutsk, almost 64 million rubles, and Primorsky Krai, more than 25 million rubles. The largest amount of money, 506 million rubles, was allocated for, now listen to this, training on the design and operation of drones. Children will be trained using simulators, which include tasks on destroying NATO equipment. Among the requirements for these simulators mentioned by the St. Petersburg Center for Additional Education that was buying the simulators, there's the ability to destroy Caesar 6x6 howitzers and Leopard 1A5 tanks. Teachers are being actively trained for this new subject. According to the Dean of the Institution of the Development of Professional Education of Russia, more than 1,000 teachers have already been trained in the assembly and control of drones. So drones are not just toys in Russia any longer. What a sad place Russia is becoming. Before we move to the last news, I'd like to ask you a favor. Well, first of all, if you haven't liked this live stream, please do. And then second, let me know, please pick one news that you like the most and let me know what it is. Down below in the comments. If you don't know what to pick, just drop me a few lines of encouragement saying, hey, Konstantin, thank you for this live stream, you're doing a good job. Something like that. Yeah. It'd be very nice for me to hear. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The last news, it's about the economy. It's about the money, really. The economy is a numbers game. Don't trust anyone telling you of Russian economy. Look for the numbers. Blah, blah, blah. Lies. Numbers don't lie. The key economic indicators are what you should be looking for, should be looking at. The unemployment rate, that's number one. In Russia, it is currently 1.8%, and at least that's the latest number I heard from more than one expert. Okay? What is 1.8% unemployment rate? Well, I'm going to show you right now. Take a close look. This guy who is filming a video, that is his tractor, okay? Crane. He is using a lot of swear words, and he's very frustrated, and it's to a point where I don't want to turn what he's saying on. He says that he's machine has been idling for the past week, previous week, prior week, because there are simply no people who want to work. They all are gone, either to the front lines or someplace else. There is no one wants to work, and the job is not getting done. And he doesn't need his tractor because no one to operate it. Now, at the same time, large state-owned resource mining and financial corporations have started massively laying off employees. These two news at first sight contradict each other, but they don't. Okay, they perfectly fall together. Now, first, who is firing? Sberbank, Russia's largest bank, one of the largest companies, really, owned, controlled by the state. German Gref is the head, who's a longtime Putin friend and associate. So Sberbank is planning to reduce the number of employees by up to 50%, including in the IT department. This is according to a report from the IT Workers Union, which claims that the wave of layoffs will affect from 30 to 50% of workers, including IT specialists. The layoffs are expected to be completed within 2 months from now. The reason for these reductions is dropping demand and purchasing ability of an average person. An average person simply doesn't have much money anymore. The analytical department of Sber, and I'm sure it consists of very smart people, knows exactly what is coming, and it is cutting costs prior the trouble hits it. Another company that has started massive layovers is Rosneft. 3 months ago, I reported I had some inside information from an executive inside of the company, Rosneft. All employees of Rosneft received a letter. They call it the letter of happiness. In about November, stating that starting January 1st, the salaries were going to be cut by 40%. Here comes January 1st, and the salaries are cut by 40%. A lot of people have left the company, but it's kind of the same thing as if to lay off 40% of personnel. Earlier this month, reports started emerging that Gazprom itself, Russia's largest company, the natural monopoly, one of the most successful companies in the past in Russia, Gazprom was preparing for massive layoffs, with central office expected to be reduced by 40%. This would be affecting more than 1,500 employees. Check this out. This is internal document that I got my hands on. Well, it's not exclusive. A lot of people have gotten their hands on. I'll be absolutely fair. But it's still an internal document that basically proves that Gazprom is going to lay off lots and lots of people. The trouble is also cooking inside Norilsky Nickel. They are creating a layoff strategy right now. They're doing massive research of the company, of the markets. They're doing strategical sessions. And they're going to be laying a lot of people off. Also, the rumors have it they're going to be moving manufacturing, at least they're considering moving manufacturing to China. Surprise, surprise. The trouble is cooking inside the coal mining companies. Coal mining industry has been hit hard. I don't have exact numbers. It's like a taboo in Russia. No one really talks about it. But from what I understand and from what I know, there have been a number of companies whose employees were on strikes because they weren't getting paid for months at a time. And layoffs are underway. Layoffs, layoffs, layoffs. Right now, those who are laid off are mostly white-collar workers. The administration, the management, the executives, non-essential workers. Those who drive, who operate machines, who move heavy weights, move coal, drill, move the drills for oil and so forth, they are not getting fired. They will go the last, okay? There's lack of them. The white collars are being fired. Now, that was one of the key economic indicators, the unemployment rate. And another key economic indicator is the inflation. Росстат, Russia's statistics agency, just like I said in the beginning of the stream, it didn't disappoint me this time. It released the new data for 2024 for the inflation. And according to Россtат, annual inflation last year reached 9.52%, 9.5. Well, that is twice as high as Putin promised in the beginning of 2024. He promised 4.5. So he soiled his pants again publicly. One more time. But something is telling me that 9.5% is a cooked up number. The inflation rate just in November and December was 18% annual, in annual terms. And the data for the first 2 weeks of January of 2025 show that the inflation is at the rate of more than 20% per annum. But this is already another reporting period. And those people at Россtат will have to report this January. They will have to report about right now only in a year from now, in the beginning of 2026. So, hey, no big deal. They don't care. Everyone else is reporting a little different numbers. Different from Россtат for 2024. For example, this is RBK. That's, I can't say that's the most fair media, but, it's better than propaganda, okay? And they are reporting that Россtат saying 9.52, but some products, especially food, has risen in price much higher. Another source is the Siren, and it also gives a very different number. For example, the potatoes price has gone up 115% in 2024. The potatoes in regular store in Russia is over 70 rubles per kilo. 115%. Cucumbers and tomatoes rose in price by 46%. Fresh fish rose in price by 30%. Lamb by 30%. Dairy products by 24%. Again, look at the numbers. And these are the numbers. They are painting us a pretty darn dark picture that is very different from what Russian state is painting us. Although, if you look closely, Russian state numbers are not that great either, okay? Because they just simply cannot sugarcoat forever, and they can't hide the truth. Truth always comes on top. The economic tsunami is devouring Russia. But still, there is a long way to go. I feel like I'll be doing a lot of reporting in 2025 about Russian economy. Stay tuned for more news of the demise of Russia. Carthago delenda est. I will see you soon.